Okay, so Sorcerer have a build where you can basically spam ice shards infinitely and keep that mana really pumped up at a very high level and let you just consistently crank out DPS. So we're seeing this be one of the meta staple ways to play Sorcerer, and I want to let you know kind of what causes this to happen, what enables it, and why it's so powerful if you're considering diving into playing the Sorcerer, or if you're already leveling up a Sorcerer and you're looking for what makes this possible to keep cranking out this infinite mana playstyle. Let's get into it. Okay, so as of right now, there's a few different ways that are emerging as the main way to play the Sorcerer. You've got Ice Shards and Arc Lash, so like the Cold and the Lightning are the two probably most popular, but we're also seeing some Firewall builds and strategies emerge as well, where you've got like Lucky Hits, proccing Meteors and all sorts of stuff, and being able to really spam those Firewalls all over the map. Now, the one that I have the most experience with and I've tested first is going to be the Ice Shards version of the build. And what makes it so good is going to be this Avalanche passive right here. So your Lucky Hits have a Frost skills up to 10% chance to make your next cast of Ice Shards, Frozen Orb, or Blizzard, if you're running those, consume no mana, but not only consume no mana, but deal 40% X increased damage, and the chance is doubled against vulnerable enemies. Now, vulnerable is going to be a staple of mostly every build in the game, which right now is a hot topic. We've got some people out there in the community saying that maybe vulnerable is ruining the game a little bit. It's pigeonholing players too much, and I may do some polling and discussing about that topic surrounding vulnerable because it really is so crucial for every build. But anyway, in the context of the way the game is functioning right now, we're going to be running vulnerable anyway. We're going to be using something like our Frost Nova to make sure we're proccing the vulnerable. You can see right here that it is going to be Frost Nova makes enemies vulnerable for 4 seconds, and it's increased to 6 seconds against bosses. So we can stack enough cooldown reduction to make this basically permanent, keep things vulnerable, and then we're going to synergize that with our Avalanche key passive to make sure that we can pump out Ice Shards consistently, like you see right there above my head, and just keep spamming that mana, cranking out DPS. And we have some cool things on Sorcerer that really synergize and unlock a lot of value with this as well. You've got Elemental Dominance right here. Your core skills deal 9% X increased damage when cast above 50 mana, which when you build this properly, you're basically always going to be doing. So not only do we get the damage increase from the Glass Cannon passive, but then we also get this Elemental Dominance that gives us another 9%, and all of that is basically permanent. But there is also a super crucial part of this build, and that is going to be this aspect of Frozen Memories, where the Avalanche key passive now applies one additional cast. So we're basically doubling the effectiveness of an already crucial passive and crucial part of unlocking the power of this style. And it's why, if you notice, when I put together the World Tier 4 build for Sorcerer, I've got the aspect of Frozen Memories on there once here, and then once over here on the offhand as well. And I have a lot of confusion about that. Maybe I shouldn't do it. Maybe I should adjust that. But the reason I did it is because I want to make sure that you have that in your build. So if you're running like a main hand and an offhand, you get that extra aspect spot. And then you can go ahead and put it in the offhand like I have indicated right there. But if you're running a two-hander, then obviously you don't have that aspect spot. So that's why I went ahead and put it up here on the gloves. That way you get it no matter what, and you at least have it in the build, whether you decide to have a two-hander on or a one-hander and an off-hander. And I will denote that in the notes section of the build that I have linked down below. And what I mean by that, if you haven't used the D4 builds site yet, is right here. This is what I was showing you right here, is the gear and skills. But you can scroll on over and click on the notes section, and then you can see right here, I've got the caveats about the Avalanche charge aspect, and then also the aspect of Frozen Memories and why it is listed on there twice. I've got like the rotation of the gameplay, and I'm kind of slowly going to add in more and more information about the glyphs and what you're looking for on each piece of gear. And as I kind of play the build more and more, I'll keep adding to this notes section as well about the World Tier 4 Cold Sorcerer build that I link down below and cover for you here on the channel. And there's lots of other stuff to cover about the build, but also the Temerity Pants are a really good thing to consider as well, because they allow you to not only get more barriers, which synergize super well with the style, but they also allow you to really stand there and keep up a lot of toughness by generating the overhealing that you can proc yourself with your potions and all that, which is why I did a dedicated video about temerity pants, because I think they're one of the best legendaries in the game for just progressing through content and rounding out a build. And there's also an aspect that gives you more damage based on how long you're standing still, which can be a great option as well. And then there's also the elementalist aspect, which is a super important key of this infinite mana spam style, because since we always maintain that high mana, we're going to have a massively increased crit chance if we are able to stay at or above 100 mana, which, as you can see up above, if we're constantly spamming and we're able to keep proccing that bonus avalanche passive and keep our mana constantly full, we're able to get more and more stacks of increased damage. And this is also some of the reason that you'll see in my Paragon board. On my third board, I actually already prioritized getting up here to these nodes to scoop up the attack speed. Even though I couldn't unlock a glyph as soon as I wanted to, I really wanted to get that attack speed to keep spamming, because it's basically free DPS. If we're going to be full on mana, the faster we can attack, the faster we can do damage, and we're going to thus increase our DPS a ton and be able to crank out more and more damage as we're sitting there spamming, which is really going to snowball how fast we're able to progress, because the sooner we kill stuff on screen, the sooner we can move on, and the sooner we can keep our XP bar climbing and getting through content that we're trying to clear, thus progress level faster, unlock more and more stuff faster, and snowball our account. So some of that stuff is so good to synergize with all of the things that unlock this infinite mana spam style. And I will also get a dedicated video out here on the channel once I'm like level 100, have this thing like perfectly min-maxed down to every single role and every single Paragon node and all of that. So I will definitely cover that for you, so you have something to work towards if you want to play this style in the uber endgame once you're fully maxed out, and I'll cover that for you. I would say like the one downside to playing like this infinite mana playstyle is you do have to kind of be up in the fray. You teleport in, you pop your Frost Nova for the vulnerable, and then you really get in there and you spam your DPS. And also, it's kind of a skill shot. You do have to aim your ice shards, kind of. It's not like just spamming firewalls all over the place or something like that. You do have to actually kind of consciously aim when you're trying to play and place those ice shards properly. But all in all, it's a super fun playstyle. It cranks out a ton of damage. It's kind of meta for the sorcerer, and I wanted to explain how to keep that infinite mana playstyle up. And like I said earlier, I'll link down below to the d4builds.gg full layout of the build if you want to click on that down below and pull it up over on your end. And I will keep that up to date. I'll keep updating the notes section and all of that, and then I'll also get that new version. I'll have like 3 different versions of this playstyle. I'll have the beginner version that I released kind of right before the game came out. Then I have the World Tier 4 version that I just released a little bit ago, talking about how to speed farm your content and really get into the end game. And then we'll do one more, which is the fully perfected every single role in every single slot, and fully lay that out for you. So I appreciate all of you. Remember to subscribe on your way out if you enjoy daily Diablo 4 content, and I'll see you soon in the next video. Thanks for watching. Peace.